Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. This is your boy, the coach from the WWE. I would like to welcome you to the very first wrestling podcast in the world to take you on a weekly deep dive into classic matches along with legends of the squared circle. Enjoy the discussion. Enjoy the back and forth. There's so much to get into. Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Payoff.
Welcome to an all-new episode of The Payoff. Jeff, what did you get ourselves into?
Oh man, I'm sorry. It's been on the list for a while, and it's just, I try and not do these too often, but you're welcome. Next week, I gave you a Shawn Michaels match because I'm making you sit through this one this week, and so, it's just. We got to do it. We've always said we cover the good and the bad, and this is definitely going to be in the bad. So that's why we're covering this match here today.
Oh boy.
Yep.
I really have no idea what to expect.
From reading even from me putting my notes together and reading the reviews, I still don't know what to expect. So
yeah, you're gonna have to tell me what the hell's going on with this thing. Like what is supposed to happen.
I'll get into that in the build because there really isn't an answer to that question. So, but we'll get into it once we get into it, my friend.
Oh, okay. I'm like nervous about this, I think.
Whatever your expectations are, I need you to lower them even more. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah.
All right. I mean, are we just going to just do this?
Let's get into the build. Yeah, I'm ready if you are.
Oh boy. Okay. It's time for the build.
Oh, it's time for the build.
All right. Uncensored 1996. This is the second version of Uncensored, the second year, I should say. So Uncensored starts in 1995. And just to give you a quick idea of Uncensored 95, we had Hogan defeating Vader on top in a leather strap match in 18 minutes, which did not make our top strap matches of all time list. That was also the show that famously had the King of the Road match with Blacktop Bully and Dustin Rhodes fighting on the back of a trailer. I rented this tape. So I remember actually watching that show. That also on that show was Randy Savage and Earthquake, Big Boss Man and Sting, Nasty Boys and Harlem Heat. I mean, so just kind of a fun show. But anyway, so that was the first year they did this Uncensored thing, which, I know kind of Uncensored has been a little bit of a laughing stock, but the idea of really an Extreme Rules pay-per-view, like we're just going to do some crazy ass shit, was pretty innovative. And that's where I think, I know Eric Bischoff has his haters, and yeah, maybe there's some truth to that. And I do think that he's a little bit of a bullshitter at sometimes, but there are some really interesting ideas that emerged, cruiserweights, and, Road Wild was innovative, right? I mean, so yeah. They tried to theme these pay-per-views up more so than WWE did at the time, but then look at WWE now. Every pay-per-view is a theme, right? So it's interesting that they kind of had this thought first. They did monthly pay-per-views before WWF did. So 96 Uncensored, we start off with Conan retaining his U.S. championship against Eddie Guerrero in 18 minutes. We had the Belfast Bruiser defeating Lord Steven Regal by DQ. Colonel Robert Parker defeating Medusa in 3 minutes. So at this point, we really didn't have any stipulation matches. We only had 3 stip matches on the show. The first stip match. Go ahead.
I want to point out, do you know who the Belfast Bruiser is, Tom? This is a throwback. The Belfast Bruiser is one Fit Finlay.
Finlay, right? Yeah, okay.
Yep.
All right, so the first of our 3 gimmick matches, the Booty Man, which was Brutus Beefcake, is going to defeat DDP in an I Quit match in 16 minutes. I bet that was horrible. In a singles match, the Giant is going to defeat Loch Ness in 2 minutes. In a Chicago street fight, Sting and Booker T are going to defeat the Road Warriors in 30 minutes. Could have been a fun match, but 30 minutes just sounds
that
like
was the best
rubber.
match of the night.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
And then our main event. So just to reiterate, we have Hogan and Savage trying to fend off the alliance to defeat Hulkamania of Flair, Anderson, Meng, Barbarian, Luger, Taskmaster, the Gangsta, who was Zeus, and the Ultimate Solution, who is that Festus?
Who was that?
Who is this guy? The Ultimate Solution, Robert Alexander Jeep Swenson.
Yeah,
who's an actor.
There's
looks like Festus.
There's a few in here that are not. They're nobody.
Okay, so this was really something. Tell us what we need to know before we watch this match, and this is 25 minutes long. So it's a good thing we have each other to entertain one another during this.
Yeah, this was bad. There's not a ton to talk about. I'll just say, like, Hogan was so.
And the Chicago. Oh, hold on. The Chicago street fight took place in Tupelo, Mississippi. By the way.
Yes.
Well, I guess Road Warriors are from Chicago, so it kind of makes sense. I forgot to say that. So March 24th, 1996, we're at the Tupelo Coliseum in Tupelo, Mississippi.
You did forget that. Yeah, that's so great show for the fans in Mississippi. But I'll start with, the Alliance to end Hulkamania. This was Dungeon of Doom and the Four Horsemen. You had the two heel stables attempting to get rid of Hulk Hogan. A little bit of background here. Hogan, he had feuded with Dungeon of Doom. It was a War Games match at Fall Brawl. You had him losing the title to the Giant at Halloween Havoc. There was some weird stuff there with contracts. So then there was a 60-man battle royal at World War III. Giant cost Hogan the title. Of course, Giant's not in this match. Why would he? That makes sense. That would only make sense. Yeah. And so, bottom line here is, like you said, this match taking place in late March, but it was early 1996. You had the mega powers of him and Randy Savage coming together again for this Doomsday Cage match. Going back a little bit too here, Savage had been feuding with Flair, well as a couple other people. You had the storyline with Elizabeth and who was she manager of as well too. So you had that going on a little bit, and so it kind of some real life crossover there with who was divorced and all this other weird shit. Yeah, pretty much. And so of course Flair, Anderson being in the Horsemen on this one, but then you also had Meng, the Barbarian, Lex Luger, the Taskmaster was in this one as well too. It was Kevin Sullivan. You had Z Gangsta, who is actually Tommy Lister, as we all know, the actor, and kind of been in wrestling as well too before. And then the Ultimate Solution is like you said, he has a Wikipedia page, but he's gone by a couple different things, but that was kind of it. He played Bane in the Batman and Robin movie. Like, whatever. Let's just get into this one because I want to get it over with. So, yeah, not like I said, it was just the two. At its core, you had the two heel factions coming together to end Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage. I will talk about the rules of this match as we're watching it because I don't want to waste any more time before we put it on. So, yeah.
Agreed. Time for the payoff.
Oh, it's time for the payoff.
All right. I like Macho Man's gear here. He's kind of like dressed up for a fight. He's got like a regular red bandana on. He's taped up some like his wrists and his left arm's taped up, and I don't know. It just looks like he's like ready for a fight, which is kind of interesting.
A little bit of crossover with Hogan too, so that's nice touch. He's got a red bandana on, like. So they're climbing the scaffolding to get into this Doomsday Cage, and
the fans are into it.
Fans are into it. I don't understand how you're like. This is like, what was it? The Punjabi prison match. I don't understand how you watch it. So there's 3 levels to this thing. It's just really weird. Like, this was. I will start.
Try to explain the rules if you can, or what are we watching for? Okay, so now. Arn Anderson's dressed up like in sweatpants and a sweatshirt, which is kind of funny. Okay, so Hogan and Savage are both up top fighting with Flair and Anderson. The other 4 guys are in the cage below them and I guess can't get to them. I don't – tell me what the hell I'm watching here.
They're just yeah. There's some write-ups on this one, but it really doesn't make any sense. And so I say the main event, a not well thought out 2-on-8 match involving Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage, turned out to be even worse than one would have figured going in. And going in, people were expecting the worst. The rules of the match were never explained, and in hindsight, it appears because nobody had figured them out. The rules were explained that Hogan and Savage would have to beat everyone on the heel team in order to eliminate them. What happened was something different. The cage was 3 decks, and with no mat on the top 2 decks, this made it very difficult to get good footing or take meaningful bumps. Thus, even Ric Flair and Arn Anderson on the top level, the action was horrible. And so...
Okay, so each level, you're essentially standing on the top of, think of like a Hell in a Cell, where you're
2 cages.
As you're stepping on stuff, you're stepping into it. So imagine trying to have a match on the top of the Hell in a Cell. Well, you go, it's like remember Mick Foley and Undertaker like stepping into the cage and it looked like they're going to fall through. That's what we're watching right now. The structures, I mean, it must have been a hell of a project to build this thing.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And you got to figure, like, in no practice, like, they obviously don't know what they're doing. Like, he's kind of, like, they are wrestling. I guess this is the 4 best wrestlers, too. You got Arn Anderson and Flair, like, and then Savage and Hogan. Like, it's got to hurt like hell. This is, I say, one of the older ring or style cages. So it's not like they're working this in any way.
So we don't know if, like, they're going to pin. I mean, theoretic. Okay, so there's 2 cages above a caged ring. So the ring is caged.
And
then you have another.
There's nobody in the ring right now.
Yeah. Then you have another cage above that's on top of cage. Then you have another cage on top of that. So there's 3 layers to this thing, with the bottom layer being the ring. So theoretically, you'd think Flair and Anderson are going to lose to Hogan and Savage so that they'll advance to wrestle the 4 guys waiting below them, I guess. I don't know. So Hogan's hulking up here against Flair.
So here's a different website trying to explain the rules on this one. The rules are simple and were totally explained by WCW beforehand. Checks notes. Oh, nope, guess not. So Hogan and Savage are fighting in a triple-decker cage, something the NWA had tried in the 80s with little success. Fighting first in the top level, then a middle cage separated by 2 rooms via a small door, then fight down to the bottom cage with different guys in each cage. They must survive each cage, thus eliminating the opponents. Remember that. Unlike past examples I've seen, the cage isn't tiny. They're all equal in width, though the top 2 are quite short, with a big central post for stability. And in an un-WCW-like move, they actually have proper scaffolding around everything, so wrestlers and camera can get there. I was legit expecting them to shoot it from the ground because WCW.
Yeah, so the scaffolding goes up. It's actually like well lit. It's well produced. I'll give them that. Like some of those war games we watched were just so dark and dungy. I mean, they've got like special lighting up. I mean, so it looks fine. I mean, it's not hard to watch.
So on cage 1, like we're talking about at the top.
By the way, this match needs a dark side of the ring.
Oh my God, yeah. You've got, like we said, Arn Anderson and Flair are in this top cage. In the middle cage, you have Ming Barbarian, the Taskmaster, and Luger. And then on cage 3, which is the ring, you had Z Gangster and the Ultimate Solution. Which, again, we still like. Why? Why wouldn't you put like these guys in the bottom? Like, it doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense, I guess. So why would I be saying that? So
the cage below this cage is split into 2 halves.
Yes, and then there's a door in between. I don't know how they're supposed to get down to that one. Like, are they just going to walk on the scaffolding outside? Like, it's just.
We're about to find out.
Yeah, we're about to find out. Doomsday Cage. We got a split screen now of all the guys. So Anderson and Flair are kind of, they got figure 4s. We got all kinds of things happening. Yep. I do want, as we're watching this, as best as we can, pay attention to who's kind of coming and going. I'm just going to spoil this because it doesn't really fucking matter. that some of the people are just going to kind of leave. They're not technically even going to be eliminated. They're just kind of going to leave, and they're not really going to be in the match anymore. And so, it's going to be really weird. Yeah. Just pulling up more of these, trying to, here we go. Arn Anderson on the Doomsday cage, kind of pulling this one up. So this is the 3 cages, smaller one, bigger one, biggest one. You got to drop down from the small one to the middle one, and then you got to drop down from the middle one to the bottom one, and then you have a decision. Well, number one, I got added to this some way, somehow, once Kevin Sullivan must have looked around and said, there's not a lot of guys who are going to do a lot of falling down in this thing. Look at the monster roster. Then you look at the baby faces. I guess my job, which I had nothing to do with the storytelling to get this match, was just to be inserted to be a flow guy or something, or keep getting his ass kicked and take some bumps and try to make it exciting. But boy, 8-on-2. Hulk Hogan having creative control on why the match did nothing for Hogan. So this is Anderson talking about Hulk Hogan having creative control and why the match did nothing for Hogan and Savage as baby faces. Creative control to me has always been a nasty word. That night it became really relevant on how much strength and stroke the power of those two carried, because this was god awful. There were people in it like Jeep Swanson, who was a monster, which is the final solution. The biggest arms I've ever seen up until that point. You had Zeus, Barbarian, Ming, and these guys. The two guys beat all of them. That's not making baby faces. That's making you want to puke. It was shitty in the design and lousy in its preparation. The whole concept made no sense. And if you think 2 baby faces were made at the end of the day, you're not a wrestling fan. No way, no how should that have ended that way. No way, no how should that have match ever occurred. A lot of dangers. It's a miracle you didn't have 4 guys blow out their knees dropping from one cage to another. It's a pretty good drop. It was just surrounding Hulk with as many monsters as he could possibly defeat. I don't Hulk even realize at the time that the audience saw through it. And again, Rick and I were tossed in there as cannon fodder. I don't complain about it. I showed up every day, and any worker I work for, and whatever they want, that's what they get. This is not about me, but you had a couple of professionals in there, and you had more people who were disinterested than not. You had a couple of people who were completely lost, and then you had a couple of baby faces trying to take advantage of that mass confusion and somehow get over. It didn't, and it will be viewed in history as the streaming shits. Okay. So Arn Anderson, not a fan of the cage match or Doomsday cage match. Yeah. So we're down into the second cage now. You got Megan the Barbarian taking on Savage. You got Luger.
So you've 2 handicap matches essentially.
Well, 3.
Oh no. Hogan's in.
Yeah, Hogan's
so they're kind of going back and forth between these 2 cages. So you really have 2-on-4.
Yes. So I'm looking it up here. This map, spoiler, this is going to get a -3 stars. 1, 2, 3.
I mean, you can't really do anything physically.
Meltzer has given 19 matches -3 stars. Do you know what the worst
dog kettle and a dog Hell in a Cell dog kettle match has to be up there?
So he gave 5 matches -5. You had the Junkyard Dog versus Moondog spot. This was the Wrestle Classic 85. WrestleMania 2, Mr. T and Roddy Piper, 1986. Halloween Havoc, Hollywood Hogan and the Warrior, 1998.
Yeah.
The Bushwhackers versus Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik. That was 1999, a Heroes of Wrestling show. 99. And then you had Villano 5, 4, and 3 take on Murder Clown, Monster Clown, and Psycho Clown in a Triple Mania match in 2015. That's a more recent one. I'm gonna have to look that one up.
So here's a question. You've seen enough of this structure now. Let's say you put 4 really good workers in there.
Let's make it work. Yeah. Okay.
Could they?
I think you could almost do it like.
I mean, if you put the Hardy Boys versus Edge and Christian versus I think the Dudleys, Hardys, and Edge and Christian. If you put them in this thing, do you think you could have saved it?
No. But I think you have to change the format. I think you could do this like elimination style. like, almost like the top people are the lowest rank, and then the people like your bye week, if you will, or your playoff bye is in the bottom ring. And so at that point too, you could even do it like, you could have 4 people in the top, 8 people in the bottom, and then you just, you kind of you do it elimination style. But also I think you need to find a way to secure it properly, because I don't think like you can't have is that like, who is in that black shirt on that left
So
screen?
there's 4 people on the left that are locked. So it's just Savage and Luger.
Oh, and Hogan's outside now, working his way down.
Sullivan.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that there's a way to do it. You have to find a way to get like a ring somehow in that second one, but boy, that's not safe.
I don't think the physical structure's horrible. If you had logical rules that made sense and you had the right workers in there, perhaps this would have a shot.
Yeah, and so now we're nowhere near the cage. We're on the outside. We're fighting kind of around we're on the floor. We're fighting on the outside. You get, like you said, Kevin Sullivan.
The other problem is the numbers, because it's like Luke.
That's a second ring. Oh shit. Okay, I didn't realize. Okay, so now we're back looking at the main ring.
So oh my God.
Yeah. So they built this structure like off to the side. It's, I guess, at the top of the ramp is the best way to put it, like, or the walkway. So now Hogan and Sullivan are fighting in the actual hard cam ring, nowhere near the cage. Okay, this is just, okay. Yeah, this is really fucking weird. But everybody else is still locked in the cage and not able to get out. So now we're back to a split screen here with Luger and Savage fighting. Okay, maybe I don't know how to fix this to make it work. I don't know.
Yeah, we just assumed that they were in the middle of the.
Yeah, we did.
In the middle of the arena in a normal ring. This was off by the ramp.
I guess, yeah, make it eliminate. Some kind of elimination style is the only way to do this. And I think maybe, like you said, you tier it based on rankings or something like that. But where's the entry? Yeah, they are. So he's running back up the ramp. It's literally, so they would have had to walk around this thing it's almost like where the curtain is.
When we're doing the aftermath, let's go back to earlier in the show and see how they even came out of this thing.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm just curious, like, where the entrance was in the arena.
It's got to be.
Maybe that's it. Maybe they just came. So now they're all on the floor. So they locked 4. I guess they locked 4 guys in the cage. Why are those other guys not involved?
They're still locked in there, I think.
But they're not showing them, but right?
I believe so, yeah.
Have you seen the new Apple Vision goggles?
Yes, I have.
Have you seen the what it looks like? Have you seen the NBA package on there?
Yes, I have, with like the live stats and stuff like that. You're able to pull up like all that. I have seen a little bit of it. Yes, I haven't watched.
And then there's also a version of the Meta goggles, whatever they're called.
Yes,
where you can like sit courtside during NBA games. That's cool as shit. Imagine watching WrestleMania from the front row on the hard cam side, being able to like look at everything.
Yeah, if you're using it. Okay, so Kevin Sullivan's ripping apart the structure. He pulled off 2 wooden boards and then did nothing with them. You've got Luger and Hogan are in the ring. Yeah, just weird.
Yeah,
Macho Man
piece of plywood or whatever that is.
Yeah, I don't know why he just kind of ripped that off.
That's cool. Savage has mega powers written on his on his tights.
I think they're cool. They're definitely not worth any price like that. I'm not about to spend that kind of money on them.
No. But I mean, in a few years when it's cheaper and there's more stuff on it, I mean, imagine putting one of those on and being able to see a live NBA game from courtside.
Right.
Or an NFL game from the 50-yard line, or WrestleMania from the front row.
I think, yeah, like you said, I think it's going to take a couple years. Normally with like iPhones, I know early adopter was the word, we used 10 years ago or whatever it was, 15 years
Yeah.
ago. I'm definitely not an early adopter on something like that. Something like my PlayStation 5, I bought that right away. Kind of those types of things, that I know are trusted and true. Just kind of doing that. But yeah, I think they're cool. The potential's cool. Like you said, in a few years, kind of seeing what they do with them, I think it'll be pretty cool. Yeah.
I mean, I really think it's going to be pretty badass.
If it
Like,
hasn't already happened.
I think concerts, like a concert at the Sphere,
Yeah.
where I mean, it's going to be pretty badass.
What did I see? The next residency is Grateful Dead and John Mayer
Great.
or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, John Mayer kind of like is with the Grateful Dead people. He's like the lead singer. It's like what Adam Lambert does with Queen.
I feel like if I went and I got high, it would just be like an out of body experience and I would want to die by the end. It's like one of those stories. Like, I don't know where I'm at. Like, this is too real. Like, get lost in the mountains type thing. Like, I know you've seen a show there. But yeah, just crazy. Yeah.
Though, yeah, I mean that I have no interest in Grateful Dead, but I do think that there's going to be some pretty awesome bands that go there, and it's going to be pretty wild what they're able to do.
Yeah. So now we are nowhere near the cage again. We have that. It's weird because Meng and Barbarian were in that middle cage too, but you've only got Kevin Sullivan and Lex Luger. We haven't even hit that bottom ring of the cage yet. We haven't seen those guys yet, so I don't really know what's happening. Luckily, we got about 10 minutes left in this show, so hopefully it ends mercilessly sooner than later. Yeah.
This is really something, man.
Yeah, for real. We're sitting here in silence because, like, and normally, we try and keep the air filled here, but it's crazy to watch because at this point, yeah, there's six other people that like we don't know where they're at. Like, and two of them are Ric Flair and Arn Anderson. Like,
So now this bald guy with the huge arms and Zeus are coming out to attack him.
Yep.
Were they in the cage?
No, they just kind of showed up. They were, like I said, the bottom cage was empty. Does he have a Gold's Gym weight belt on? Is that what I see?
He sure does.
He sure does. That's funny.
So I made a comment on Twitter the other day, and I still can't poke any holes at this. I said that the three most important non-McMahon family people in the history of WWE are Hulk Hogan, Steve Austin, and Nick Khan.
Okay.
Tell me if I'm wrong. I just don't. Without Hogan, I don't know what really happens, right? I mean, I don't know if you can create a WrestleMania and go national without that star. Mm-hmm. Steve Austin, I mean, if the Stone Cold thing doesn't happen, I mean, I don't know if they go out of business, but they get their ass kicked in the Monday Night War for how many years and what happens. Mm-hmm. And Nick Khan, what he's been able to do, navigating through all this, McMahon drama, getting these massive TV deals, setting them up for the next decade, creating this international expansion, the TKO deal, the Endeavor deal probably doesn't happen without him. So where is WWE without Nick Khan? So hey, the Saudis buy WWE instead. Some random private equity firm that you've never heard of buys WWE, and they strip it for parts. I mean, who the hell knows? So those to me are the three most important people, and I put Triple H in the McMahon family as well. But those are the three most important people. And some folks said, "What about John Cena?" So who cares? The WWE. I mean, yeah, John Cena helped them for a number of years, but he didn't change the trajectory of the company. The company would have been fine without him. They would have put someone else in that role. What about The Rock? Well, The Rock really didn't do much for WWE. He was a mid card guy for a while. He had a couple years where he was in the top mix, but he wasn't Stone Cold, and then he was gone in a blink of an eye, and he's been gone forever.
Can we just talk about how bad this is? What's happening right now?
I don't want to. No,
the four of them are in the bottom of the ring. Like, there's no
Zeus and this other guy.
Like, which I forgot. Zeus and Hogan were in a movie together. So now you got the two giant guys. This dude's the one guy does have giant fucking arms. I'll give him that. Like, they're not even blocking right. Like, it just. He has gangsta written on his head. That's how you're supposed to know that he's not.
Well, I think that's a tattoo, right?
I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Final solution now. Here we go. He's just kind of pressing Savage.
God, I mean, if you're Savage, you're like, do not break my neck, brother. Like, right. Please be careful with me. I mean, I don't know.
Hogan went to throw Solution into the cage, and it was too far away, so they both had to step through the ropes and like kind of make it happen. Like,
what's that guy's name?
Final Solution or Z
Final Solution.
Yeah, something like that.
Z Gangsta.
Z Gangsta and the Ultimate Solution. Excuse me.
Okay.
That's at least what he was
Savage
going by.
Elbow drop. Nope. Savage bombs away. Oh, the guy caught him. Oh,
that was dangerous.
Barely.
Yeah.
Hug.
You get like one half of the ring, you got Hogan beating up Zeus. The other half of the ring, you got Solution beating up Savage. So they're not really trying to save each other in any way. The cage doors. Okay, so here comes Arn Anderson back into the ring. Again, I don't know where anybody else is. Like, Ming and Barbarian.
Savage has Powder.
Here's Flair. Powder that has spilled all over the place already.
Like, he was supposed to hit somebody in the face with it, but he dropped it.
Flair's
in the ring.
This is just weird. Yeah.
Now basically everyone that's been in the match the entire time's ganging up on Hogan and Savage.
The powder's all over the ring at this point. You've got these two huge dudes just kind of standing there, throwing Macho into the ring or into the steel cage at this point. I just a huge dude. Solutions power slamming Jimmy Hart. Yep. Like, I just don't know I don't know how this ends. Like, they're just beating up the baby faces.
That's what I'm curious about now.
I'm just super excited for this one to end at this point. Yeah. So I don't know what to do here. Yep. I do want to point out too, luckily, I guess this is interesting because this match took place March 24th, 1996. This is what he's coming off of. It was Bash at the Beach, which would have been 3 months later where you had the Hulk Hogan turn. I guess when you put it in that context, looking at like, hey, like Hogan, like, boy, that could have really dudded. Like, he could have lost all of his fucking goodwill in this match because of what happened. And then these guys are like, then the turn doesn't work. Like, none of that works. So
the booty man.
Yep, they kind of slid them. That's frying pans. Oh, there's the powder. Hitting them with frying
pans on the head. So Brutus the Beefcake slid them frying pans.
They're dented as hell too. They're really hitting them. I do appreciate that. They're just running around the ring like whack-a-mole hitting these guys. Hogan, it looks like he broke his pan. Yep, he's holding it just by the side. Now the handle's gone. But Macho Man, I'm going to do this for us. I don't know if I can.
Here comes Lex Luger. Don't bring a frying pan, bring a stove. What is Luger doing now?
Oh my God.
Jeez.
Jesus Christ.
So now Luger's in the ring, kind of just beating them up.
I don't know. Do they need to escape? Because
I don't know.
Right. Like, do the heels just need to walk out here and win? I don't know.
I don't know. The Hogan's kind of kicking some ass right now. So now they're leaving the ring as if they're. Oh, hold on. Is there a pin? Did Savage just pin him? Are they taking off?
that
Are they
was
leaving?
that was a pin. Nobody knows what happened though. Like the crowd has no clue.
Oh my!
I'm gonna go back here and just I
Is
don't even
that
know.
it?
I missed what happened. Yeah.
Savage pinned someone. And
Okay,
they
so
kind of they took off.
Luger has a loaded glove. We had a turn there. Okay. Luger missed or Flair was holding Macho. Luger had a loaded glove and hit Flair. Oh, no, there wasn't a pin. It was a knockout. Oh, wait, no. Oh, he forgot. Oh my God, he's running back into the ring.
Hold on.
We're sorry, everybody, but we have to do this right now. So you're
I have
gonna want to
no
go
idea
back.
what happened.
Go back to 240-40. And Luger's putting on a glove. Flair's
Okay.
holding Macho to go punch him. But then Macho
Okay, I see the
ducks.
glove.
Okay, Macho ducks and he still hits him, though. He still hits Flair. Hogan's beating people up.
So here's the beauty of this. Savage ducks. Luger pulls his punch. He waits, and then he still hits Flair.
Almost like it was missed time. Well, now they're both climbing out of the ring.
Oh, so yeah. And then Savage jumped back in the ring to pin him.
Because he forgot to pin him.
There you go.
What the fuck, man?
All right, let's get to the aftermath.
Ho! It's time for the aftermath.
Well,
Oh boy. Normally I'd say I'm glad we did it because it was that bad, but I'm not like I don't know what we just watched.
You have to say you watched it. You have to say
we watched it.
you
Yeah,
know.
now we can never watch it again. Yes, exactly. And they did just leave out of the back of the cage. Like they just kind of walked around the whole scaffolding and left. And so now everybody's in the ring. Nobody knows what's going on. Okay, yeah, I'm just going to get in this. Okay, so you had Hogan become NWO at this point after this kind of turn at Bash of the Beach 3 months later. Savage, of course, involved in that too, being part of the turn as well. And so that kind of happening. And the alliance to end Hulk Hogan literally ended after this match. Like there was no other matches with these guys. Like that was it. And so just really weird, all of it. I did pull up the PWI on all these guys. Hulk Hogan was 8, Savage was 21, Flair was 10, Arn Anderson was 27, Ming was 140, the Barbarian was 128, Lex Luger was 17. Nobody else was even ranked on this one. The show overall got just 147 thumbs down to 12 thumbs up. The best match, because this was hands down the worst match. The best match was the opening match of Eddie Guerrero and Conan, but not by much. They dragged Hogan and Savage into the bottom level of the cage and only got worse since they can't work. Somewhere while all this was going on, Ming and Barbarian were left out of the cage and simply walked backstage. Yeah, where were they? Finally, Sullivan, Luger, Flair, and Anderson were in the bottom cage, so it was 6-on-2. Jimmy Hart gives Luger a loaded black glove, and he went to hit Savage, who ducked, and then he held up, then changed his mind and KO'd Flair for the pin, -3 stars. Yeah, I guess that's what happened. If you we literally had to go back. I think that is the first time we've ever had to rewind to be like, what just happened? Give it a score if you want. I got a feeling here, but go for it, man.
I mean, I'm not going to do the Meltzer bullshit of like minus or whatever because I think that's kind of stupid. So
-7. Yeah,
it's a 0.
Yeah.
It's our first 0. I mean, I don't think we've ever given a 0 before.
I don't. I think
it's Jeff. This is the worst thing we've ever watched.
I don't know if Hogan and Warrior. I don't know. Remember if we gave that one a 0 or not. I think we might have given it a 1. But this is no doubt about it a 0. Everything about it is a 0. There is just 0, 0, 0. Okay, that's it. I can't even send him
that's
home
it,
happy.
right?
I can't even send him home happy, man. Like, that's it. So I will say though, so looking forward, let's do that. We'll send him home happy with what we got going over the next couple of weeks here. So we're going to do one Monday Night Raw match next week, 1996. This is one of the new ones that I found. 1-2-3 Kid versus Shawn Michaels on Monday Night Raw. Really looking forward to that one. And then we've got CM Punk versus Rey Mysterio. That was WrestleMania 26. It was a short match, but I want to get that one covered. And then lastly, to close out March, we're getting close. I don't want to spoil what we've got planned for WrestleMania itself, but we're going to give a shout out to just recently I don't know what's going on. Still don't know. I don't know if you texted him, but Marty Jannetty, the Rockers, taking on Barbarian and Haku at WrestleMania 7. And so thoughts going out to Marty on that one. Don't know what's going on. I know we don't know what to believe either. I know, if we may hear more. I know you text with him actually. So, but we'll see what happens with him, but we're going to give a little love to Marty and the Rockers and Sean. Like I said, luckily I wanted to do this one. We've only got good ones from here on out for the next little bit. So it should be okay.
Yeah. I'll just say in terms of Marty, like this is why I wish some of these guys were put in the Hall of Fame, like while they're healthy and they're able to. I mean, even Luger, like what are we waiting for here? Get him in the Hall of Fame. And again, at the time of recording, he's not in the Hall of Fame. I don't know who's going to be all in this class, but some of these guys, I just wish they had their opportunity to throw on a tux and, get that one last standing ovation, both at the Hall of Fame as well as, at WrestleMania. So that's horrible.
Right. Yeah. So we'll see what happens, but okay. With that, I say, we will send them home happy and good thoughts to our listeners today. Sorry, we made you sit through this one, but if we're going to punish ourselves, we want you to, be right there with us. But hey, in the history of wrestling, I don't think it is that impactful, but we covered it. We talked about it. That's what matters.
Absolutely. Yep. All right. Good stuff.
Yep. All right, cool. All right. Send them home.
All right. Appreciate you listening. We'll see you next week on an all new episode of The Bet.